Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Fair Life with Andrew McKee. I am Andrew McKee, and actually, I'm starting about a minute early because sometimes you do that. But hey, Harvey and Jan and Lisa, thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm sure some other people will jump on in a little bit, but it has been one of those crazy weeks for me. Very, very nutty because I always I've always called it Hell Week, and maybe that's a little disingenuous as far as what the week is, but it is one of the hardest weeks I do in the year. That and Dragon Con are the hardest, definitely by far. And the reason why is because you have the 2 weekends of Faire, and then you have student days on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in between. So in a 9-day period, I'm doing 7 days of Faire. Which is so much more than I'm used to. And yes, that's exactly right, Jen. And yeah, you'll notice I fixed it, so now the messages are centered. Yay! So I did do that. And hey, Dan, thanks for joining. Yeah, so that was interesting. Student days, some fairs do them. I'd say I don't even know if 50% of fairs do them because a lot of the smaller fairs that are only 1 or 2 weekends, they of course don't. But of the larger fairs, I'd say probably about 40 to 50% do a student day is my guess. But, I haven't really looked into it. That's just my general impression. I like that. That's funny. But no, it's student days are all about marketing to the schools in your area and sometimes your region to have a day, or in Louisiana's case, 3 different days for students to come out sort of on a field trip and be entertained, have some fun, but also learn a little bit about history and different art forms. So it is a good experience, but some schools take it more seriously than others. For some, it's just, hey, we're just giving you a vacation, enjoy it. For others, they take it very seriously, and they have those sheets that the kids are supposed to fill out and interview the different performers and different professions and learn a little bit about history and probably do a test or report about it later. And they go all out. So I've seen it work both ways. It is really rare to see 3 days of school days, and Louisiana is, I don't know if they're the only fair that does that, but not many do that many. Usually it's just one, sometimes two student days. 3 is pretty profound. And I will give them a lot of credit. They started in the early days when they weren't getting many people in the gate. A good Saturday would be 750 people back when they first started. And they'd have a student day, and they'd have several thousand students come in. So they're getting a lot more people on the student days than they were on the regular days. And I know early on that really helped the fair out and promoted it. One of the interesting benefits I found is that for instance, a lot of members of the cast at the fair started out going to a student day and fell in love with the fair, thought it was great. And then when they heard about a casting call where they could come out and try out to be on cast, they jumped at the chance. And if they hadn't done a student day, they probably wouldn't have done that. So a lot of the cast members started out that way. And believe it or not, some of the performers too. So yeah, hey, Sri, good to see you. Yeah, it is. Student days are a really weird dynamic, and I honestly think most fairs don't do it very well or do it at all. But some do, and Louisiana is definitely one of them. So just an interesting dynamic, I must say. But for the performers and some of the merchants, it is, well, actually all the merchants, it's very tiring. You're not really used to waking up to fair that many days in a week, and it is draining. And also some of the merchants aren't really set up to sell to children. like the smithies that do that sell weapons and all of that. They're not really set up to do that. So for some of the merchants, if they can't come up with a product that would work for kids, they just kind of man their booth and are forced to not really do much. It's an interesting challenge, and some booths have come up with, I mean, they either naturally are good at that, like they're essentially a candy shop and kids go crazy for it, or they come up with merch specifically for student days, sell some of them on regular days, but really make sure they have a lot of them for students, and they do very well. But yeah, it is an interesting challenge, and since a lot of fairs don't do it, merchants aren't necessarily encouraged to work that hard on something that they only have to deal with for a few days each year. So I totally get it. It's an interesting conundrum, and I don't know if I know patrons and everything. You don't really see that side of it, and most patrons who go to Faire, of course, they didn't go to a student day and they're past school, so they never see that side. There are a lot of patrons that don't even know student days exists, and I totally get it. But it is interesting. It is interesting. Most performers, though, tend to like it, even though it's tiring, because you get another day of pay. I mean, it's like bonus days, working overtime. And if you're in the mood for it, hey, it's great. But it is tiring. And I'm not going to lie. Before the show today, I was really kind of going, I don't know. But, and I am still a little hoarse. I'm not going to lie. But it is, but I promised y'all last week that on my post, I'm definitely doing it next week, because I couldn't logistically figure out how to make it work. If I'd stayed here to do the show on last Monday, I would have had to have driven back to Louisiana, and I would have gotten in at the earliest at 10:30 p.m., possibly later, and then I would have had to have gotten up really early to do kids' days. So yeah, I said not a good idea, but I was determined this week I'm going to be here. So yeah, it has been a crazy week, but I'm glad I got through it. And there's always a group of kids that are really into it, and they ask great questions, and you can tell that you're actually making a big difference in their life. I mean, even if it's a small, subtle one, as far as they're interested and they learn something and they're excited about that, or they're kind of thinking, wow, this is really interesting. I want to play more music. And that is, you're really just making that much of a difference. And that is always rewarding. So I understand a little bit of how it can be rewarding being a teacher. But I don't have to put in all the work. I get I get these little moments here that I get to enjoy. So that is very nice. That is very nice. But yes, so I think I hope everything's been going all right with y'all. And the interesting issue is that it's been unseasonably warm in the middle of November. That's been surprising. So this last weekend was, at Louisiana at least, it got up into the low 80s, which, wow, that was wild. Really strange. But again, not that big of a deal for me. I'm a Southerner. I've done over 100-degree weather for a fair before, so 80 is not that bad. I know it was tough on some people, but yeah, right. Right. Yes, Drew, same thing. He's like, yeah, this isn't bad. Because for Texas Renaissance Festival has been going on for a while, and early on, whoa, yeah, you get into those 90s, and I don't know, Drew, what was the highest temperature that you hit at Texas Renaissance Festival this season? Because that's been going on. Louisiana hasn't been going on that long, so I didn't have to hit that. I'm just curious what the highest you hit was. I guess 95, if I had to just throw out a guess, but maybe 93 if you're lucky. but I don't know. But yeah, low 80s. And when I say low 80s, for about an hour in there, it hit 81. So it wasn't bad. Yeah, 90s for sure, I figured. But uh, yeah, at least you didn't have to hit 100. Yay, right? So it's those little things you got to focus on. Um, and yeah, Lisa, you're totally right. In Texas, we kind of go that cold and then hot, and you get that weird cold front that you're so not prepared for because you've been dealing with heat for months. And then it suddenly goes down to 39 degrees in the morning, and you're kind of like, what in the world? And then boom, the next day it's back up to 80. So really strange, really strange. So yeah, and definitely an interesting phenomenon. I I'm kind of at a weird place. Oh, okay. Oh, windy. Yeah, I see. For cards, I totally get that, but I hear you because for the recorder, it's the same thing. Not you don't need much air to play a note out of a recorder. So if I'm playing it and the wind hits it, it just blows the note back in, and the note just dies. So you always have to try to face away from the wind, but even then, wind at fairs tends to circle around a lot, and it's almost impossible to do that perfectly. So I'm fighting the wind as I'm fighting the weather and fighting the fighting the instrument and fighting everything. It's never easy. It's never easy. Yeah, and there's a lot of fairs that have to deal with that. I mean, you get a lot of the summer fairs, and they really have to deal with stuff. That's why a lot of the summer fairs are more up north, because in the south it would be upper 90s and hundreds to deal with, and that's pushing it for endurance for a lot of people. Weather vane bard. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, okay. I'm thinking Halloween costume next year because I like that. That'd be good. So let's see. I did have a rough weekend last weekend because there were some sound problems on one of the stages, and since they put me in charge of sound at the fair, and I'm helping out a lot with that. Generally, it's mainly you have a new group that comes in. I just say, okay, let's make sure you're all set up, do a quick sound check, you're good. And then I go off and play music, and it's no problem. But this one, the sound actually started to have some serious problems. I pretty much nursed it on Sunday to just get through the day. And I mean, that meant I had to stay at the fair. I mean, at that stage for a lot of the day. And that was rough. I probably only played in the lanes about half the time I normally would have liked, which, yeah, not my favorite. But at the same time, there was nothing else to be done about it. And I'd like to help, but that was rough. So for next weekend, we're just replacing the sound system and doing that halfway through the season, through the fair. Yeah, always weird, but I'm just going to come in on Friday, and we're going to just replace it and start from scratch at that stage. At the Painted Badger is where it was, if you're curious, and just get it all set up, and it will work. I mean, it's hopefully it'll be a lot better. And that is a very tough venue, one of the toughest I've seen at Fair, mainly because it's an indoor enclosed area that has a pub, and it's kind of a rectangle where the stage is on one of the small corners, side corners, and it's a metal sloping roof. Yes, so a lot of reverberation, literally tinniness. And it's a challenge. It is a challenge to set up and make even sound decent and avoid feedback. I managed to do that fairly well, but then the PA started to go out. So it was an experience. But that's what I'm going to be doing for this week. It's a weird. You've been there before to that stage. So this year, the Chase Treasure and the Whiskey Bay Rovers are there, and they're great groups with good music, and I just want them to sound good. So it should be good. It should be good. We'll get it done on Friday, and what that means is Saturday and Sunday I can go back to playing music, which surprisingly is my favorite part. Yeah, yeah. Right? That's a good analogy. Parking garages, yes, not far off, I think, yeah. Well, I'd like to leave character building to gaming nights, honestly, if I can. Yes, and yeah, I think I just talked to some people yesterday about maybe doing a little adventure here next week there during Faire and fifth edition. So we'll see. I'll try to get that together. It's the little thing sometimes, but yeah. Well, it's already 7:14, so almost 7:15. Let's go ahead and jump into the Faire map, because there's not really much to it. It's pretty nice. I mean, you'll notice that we're kind of hitting that point where not many fairs left going on. That end of November period, beginning of December. Now, we're starting to get into some Dickens fairs, but I don't really like counting those as Ren fairs. A lot of Ren fair lists have them, but, I mean, by definition, Ren fair, I mean, you got to draw the line somewhere, and Dickens is, 19th century. So, I mean, we're kind of getting away. Yeah, I mean, it has more in common with steampunk than it does with the Renaissance. So, yeah, I don't really include those on the lists. But there are a few of those starting up. But the Ren fairs are not many left. So let's go ahead and jump in here and see if I remember how to... I do! Yes! Remember how to do this. Yay! I got my laser pointer. Everything seems to be working, so that is good news. I think I've got it, the tech side figured out now. If there is any problems, they're minor. But we'll start with the Carolina Renaissance Festival, and this is the last weekend of it coming up. The theme, of course, is Final Huzzah, and this is in Huntersville, North Carolina. Jumping down to Florida, and Florida loves to do their fairs in the late fall and early part of the year in January, February, and March. That's usually their bread and butter, because most of the other estates don't bother with fairs at that time because it's too cold. Well, in Florida, they can get away with it. So they do that. And you start with the Jubilee Renaissance Fair, which is just the one weekend in Milton, Florida, right here. And yeah, I mean, that's more centered around a joust tournament kind of thing. But yeah, it is a fair that's been going on for, I guess, 5 years. This will be the 5th. Yeah, I think that's right. Then jumping down to the Sarasota Medieval Fair, and this will be the 4th out of 5 weekends in Mayaca City, Florida. And the theme is Mystical Realms Weekend. And then going down to Camelot Days Medieval Festival in Hollywood, Florida. And this is the last weekend of it. And the theme is Myths and Magic. So yeah, they're getting their end of the year fairs all done. Then jumping over to Louisiana, I do know a little bit about that, in Hammond, Louisiana. This will be we're at the halfway point, so this will be the 4th out of 6 weekends. And the theme is Wizards and Legends. So that should be a good one. Yeah, I mean, it started, themes are kind of going interesting ways. They used to make them very generic, and now they're trying to put things together to make them even more generic, where you can put anything in there. Wizards and Legends, you can put anything from Gandalf to Harry Potter in there. And Legends works for anything from Wesley from the Princess Bride to... oh, cool. Curdle will be there. But yeah, it's really odd how that works. How the way the themes have started to evolve over the last 10 years or so. Something I've noticed. Um, yeah, I guess they've gone from fairly, I guess I'll phrase it this way. They've gone from fairly specific to very generic and trying to bring in as many cosplayers as they can. It's kind of turned into a lot more like a convention, a sci-fi fantasy convention, as opposed to a Ren Fair with a lot of the dress now. I mean, a lot of anime characters come in, a lot of movie characters, a lot of it's less about the history than it used to be, which I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily good or bad, just an observation. Then jumping over to the Texas Renaissance Festival, the big one. It's in Todd Mission, Texas, and it is the 7th out of 8 weekends. So the penultimate weekend for them. And the theme is Highland Fling. And yes, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, yay me. Yeah, that is true. So yes, you got that. That will. So we're starting to get to the end. So if you want to make it end in these last few weekends of Faire for the season, now is the time. So definitely, definitely go there and check out everything. Okay. Oh, and that should take care of that message. I just got a little warning when I closed my dock for the laser pointer, but I put a check mark, so it shouldn't come up with that sound again, I hope. So let's see if okay. So Jan, Kurt will be here on Turkey weekend, so not this weekend, but next weekend for Hammond. Jan will be at the Louisiana Fair as well on after Turkey Day, so not this weekend, but the following weekend. And Sarit just made it out to TRF yesterday, first time this season. Crowd and Hop is still fun. Sarit, did you like it? I mean, was it because a lot of changes at the Texas Renaissance Festival over the last few years. Let's be honest. So, I mean, good, bad. I mean, not any different. About the same. I mean, just what did you think? I'm very curious about that. I'm going to be asking at the end of the season. I haven't really been talking about it too much with people because I want to let it kind of digest with people at the end. But yeah, I've been kind of curious how it's been going, and I'm really wondering what people think about it now. If hopefully it's going in a positive direction and it's only going to get better. That's the hope. But I'm really curious. Oh, wow. Going to TRF next week and never been before. That's awesome. Definitely go and check out The Magician. And I think you'll like it. If you've never been, definitely worth going for sure, because it is an experience, to say the least. But yeah, anyway, okay. Well, I think all the technical side of things have gotten taken care of. And it's only 7:22. I love having a small list of fairs to go over because it makes life so much easier. So much easier. Okay. Oh, okay. It's a lot of money. Well, that's, it's a large fair, and yeah, I get it. Okay. So you just go to see friends and support vendors and performers that you know, and okay, I can appreciate that. But you had fun, so that's the important thing. So it costs some money, but worth it. I get that. Okay, so that's where you are, near the giant rocking horse at the back end of the arena from 2 to dusk. Wow, that's a long haul. But okay. Excellent. Excellent. So, all right. Well, I haven't been doing 7 Reasons in a while, so let me go ahead and jump in and do one of those, I think. Have announced anything for next year yet? No, not really. I mean, next year, okay, I guess for me, if you're curious where I'm going to be for next year, as of now, it looks like I'll be at Fair of Champions in January and early February. and I'm again not finalized yet, but I'll probably be at Sherwood Forest Fair for a full run. I'd be surprised if I'm not. But yeah, they're a little late this year with the contracts, but it's usually around now when all that gets settled anyway. But yeah, it varies. But I think it's maybe a hair late than normal. But I'll probably have that resolved soon. And then after that, the New Jersey Renaissance Festival again in May and June. And then I'm working on what I'm going to be doing after that. So that's that list. Oh, right. My friends don't like that there's no music in camp after midnight. I heard about that. I don't know. I see both sides of that because in the past at TRF, when I've been there, there were times when the campground was way noisy till 2, 3 a.m. And especially on a Saturday night or even a Friday night, you're trying to sleep so that you can be up for fair in the morning. And that can be rough. I mean, I know people want to party, but I don't know. I can see both sides of that. I would say it would be nice if they could do a designated area, but the way some of those drums and drum circles are, I don't know if that would even work. They would carry so far. It can be hard to sleep with that. Yeah, and Harvey jammed with us at the end of day jam, the musicians jam at the end of the day at 4:30 p.m. there at the Louisiana Fair. We play, and usually around 7, 8, sometimes 10 of us all out there playing songs, and then the Queen comes up and says a few words, and we close it out before the canon, and it's a lot of fun. And Harvey usually brings his mandolin out, and he joined us. And that's generally, if I see somebody with an instrument, I'm saying, hey, let's jam. But Harvey's, yeah, you've been coming out for years, so yeah, definitely. Ah, okay, that's what you were checking out, the New Jersey Fair. Yeah, I will be back at New Jersey. I do have that actually confirmed, so we're good. Um, Truth be told, I just talked with TJ, one of the owners of that fair, yesterday, last night, as a matter of fact. So yeah, so that just got taken care of. Where do I jam? Uh, that is at the front gate, at the one we're talking about. That's at yeah, on the stage at the front gate, right there. And it's been that way for many years, is how we do that end of day musicians jam, is what it's called. And that pretty much always starts at 4:30 and goes on till canon at 5. So yeah. And I know some of you are thinking, 5? How? That's so early. Well, with the time change, it gets dark really quick soon after 5. So yeah, you start ending the fair a bit early. You have to. Yeah, right. Yeah, some fairs they go on till 7 or 8. It's depending on time of year you can get, or location, you can get away with that. Some even have tried going into the night, and they have lights going around the fair, and have done that with some success. I'll put it that way. It doesn't usually work out that well, but sometimes. And then sometimes I'll put on events at night with fire dancing and things like that. That that can sometimes be pretty cool. It just depends on the atmosphere and the patrons who come out, and then the level of interest, I think, for how well that works out. And then that's just one of those know your audience kind of things. Yeah, I remember when they started that. I was performing there when they started moving to really late, and they started giving the cast lanterns. I remember when they did that, and it was like, this is going to be weird. And they've been expanding the lights and going out on with that, I've heard. So yeah. Yeah, PA goes really late with their finale. I've heard that too. So yeah, I mean, it does happen. But again, it just depends on. Generally, fairs will try it, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't, they'll back off. Um, for events. Oh gosh, I remember, what was it? Disney Nights did it at Disney World for a while, and that did not last. They did not know their audience. But for the section outside of the park. But they had inside the park, they can go late, but outside for an adult area, did not work well. Yeah, not so good. So, I mean, you just have to know your audience. That's really it. But oh yeah, and you distracted me, and I was going to do 7 reasons. Not my fault this time. Okay, I'm going to jump into a quick 7 reasons here because y'all have been asking and I've been putting it off, so I'm going to get through this. And you're still going. Okay. Oh wow, arena was packed for solar rain show and fireworks on Saturday or Sunday night. Yeah, that's wild. Oh, and that's a good point, Dan. Yeah, I mean, when you go late like that and spread it out, some people will leave when it starts to get dark, and others will stay, and it spreads out the traffic flow. Because yeah, that is one thing at Louisiana that's been an issue where getting people out, I mean, I don't even try for 30, 45 minutes. It's just not even worth it. I don't get in my car and drive out and just wait while people are trying to get out, because I'd just be sitting in my car with it on. I'll just chill and relax and eventually go out. It makes much more sense. Okay, the 7 reasons for today. There's so many things I could do, but one of the things I was talking about was history, and I thought about how much I really have always enjoyed history. I was having a conversation this last weekend of how I realized I've been kind of training for being a Ren Fair performer all my life, and I didn't really know it. All these little things that don't seem like they would at all have kind of helped propel me to really like this. So I'm going to do 7 reasons I like studying history. I know, a little boring, a little dry, but maybe you'll appreciate it. I think all of you can kind of understand. So, reason number 7, history repeats. Okay? You can learn from others' mistakes and their triumphs and apply them to your own. I mean, you can learn a lot from that experience, not repeat other people's mistakes. That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to just self-evaluate by evaluating others. So yeah, that's a nice, it's a good way to do that. Number 6, hindsight is 20/20. So it's kind of like a cheat sheet on succeeding in life is how I like to look at it. A shortcut to wisdom, if you prefer, if you're more of a gamer. It's easier to look back on things and to understand them than to look forward and try to understand what's going to happen. So it really makes it easier. But if you look at all this history stuff and how often history repeats, it makes understanding the future easier. And I like that aspect. It's really nice. Number 5, history builds empathy. And growing up, understanding people was probably one of the hardest things for me in society, because people do so many irrational things that I'm kind of like, why would you do that? That makes no sense. And that was starting from the age of 3 all the way to, well, last weekend. I mean, people still always confuse me a bit. And surprise me. It's one of those things. And understanding people by seeing how people have acted over the centuries is a good way to understand them and hopefully not be too judgy, because it's very easy to be too judgmental. And history can help put that in perspective. So very good for that. And okay, let's go with number 4, linear versus cyclical. Okay. Boy, I really nerded out on this list, didn't I? Okay. Linear versus cyclical. People tend to look at history as being starting off at one point and going to another, and just a progression. And the longer you've lived, the easier it is to look at it as just being a cycle, where history just keeps repeating. I mean, people make the same mistakes, people make the same decisions. The same atmosphere that existed before will come again. And the first time I really heard of this concept, where it actually meant something to me and I applied it, was probably in school when I was reading the Iliad, and my teacher made the parallel to Achilles' shield in the Iliad, where it was just a constant variance of scenes in a circle around, in different parts of a circle around the shield. You know, one of them was just like you have war, and then you have peace, and then you have war, and you have peace, and it's just he described it as the Greek ideal of perfection. That this is how it's supposed to be. There's constant shift. And maybe it's easier to look at it as the pendulum going back and forth, you know, an overcorrection and then a back and an overcorrection again the other way. I mean, whether it's politics or society or whatever, I mean, it's an easy way to look at that. So for me, that always meant a lot. All right, number 3. It's a great story. I mean, I want to live as long as I can on this planet because I want to see what happens. I mean, history is just fascinating. It's the best reality show anyone's ever thought of. And it just writes itself. And I love it. It is just fascinating. I want to see what happens next. And in so doing, I also want to see what's happened before. I want to binge watch old episodes of life. And it's just fascinating to me. I just love it that way. And yeah, Lisa makes the comment, people don't like to examine the why of behavior. You're not wrong. The truth is, I've always obsessed over that. I always wanted to understand the why I do this, why they did that. And boy, it stressed me out. That's probably been the most stressful thing of my life, just trying to figure out that, because it's a challenge. Number 2, it's, oh, I didn't click it. There we go. It spurs creativity. Because, well, whether you're a painter or a writer or anything, any creative medium or art form, the whole concept is to do that with what you know. You know, write what you know, paint what you know, or have you seen. And it's really difficult to go and see everything and experience everything. But if you study history, you kind of get a little bit of a flavor of what this was like or what that was like, of what great romance or great epics or great battles were. I mean, whatever. And you can apply that to your artistic endeavor. It's a great way to spur creativity, and I love that. Yeah, totally agree, Jan. Why is the most interesting part. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's always strange. And yeah, old episodes of life. I like that. Yeah, old episodes of life. Boy, that'd be a good show. Episodes of life. I would watch that. Okay. And number 1. And it's just like you helped me write this, because guess what? Number 1 is history tells us why. And that's it. Because it's tough. Sometimes you have to interpret. Sometimes you have to infer from what happened and the little we do know. You know, put yourself in their place and say, okay, maybe this is why they did this, or this is why they did that. But it is, I love getting that feeling of that feeling of being able to answer some of those questions, even if it's just a guess. I think it helps, and it's fascinating. Okay, so it's autocorrect. Okay, that works. That works. Okay, fair enough. I like that it was in quotes in the first one and not in quotes in the second. So it almost seemed like that really worked well. Oh yeah, you're not kidding. Continuity checks needed for life. So that is my 7 reasons of why I like studying history. And I know none of you can relate to that at all. Oh no, not at all. But there you go. Okay. Well, we hit 7:38. Not too late. I've certainly gone longer than that. But yeah, I wanted to at least make sure I got a 7 reasons in. Or yeah, I didn't see Chris Dobie on tonight, but she's been chewing me out every weekend or every week, telling me where's 7 reasons, where's 7 reasons. So sometimes in messages after the show. So I wanted to make sure I got one in, just to avoid my weekly scolding. So yes. But yeah, so hopefully I will be a lot more conscious next week. I hope I wasn't too scatterbrained tonight. But again, thanks for joining me, and yeah, let's have a good week. And I guarantee you, I'm going to get a ridiculous amount of sleep tonight. And if you can do it, I recommend it. Take care of yourselves. Have a great day, a great night, a great week, and as always, a fair life. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.